I think we just need to stop making Stephen King adaptations. Just full stop. Welcome back, everyone, to Grizzly Reviews. It is spooky season. We are in October, which means it's time for me to come out of my little hibernation hole and make movie reviews again. So we are going to begin with the new Salem's Lot adaptation that just premiered on Max yesterday, October 3rd. By the way, I made a Mean Girls thing yesterday. You should totally go see that. Thank you. An author returns to his hometown of Jerusalem's Lot in search of inspiration for his next book, only to discover that the townspeople are being attacked by a mythical beast. I had no idea what Salem's Lot was at all about. I haven't seen that 3-hour adaptation that exists. It's just something that I've never searched for. I haven't read Stephen King's book, but it is October. It's a brand new horror movie. I've been doing 31 Days of Halloween, which is where I watch a movie every single day of the month. So October 3rd, a new scary movie premiered. I felt like I should check out Salem's Lot. And I really wish this movie was not so heavy-handed on letting you know it's a vampire movie. I don't give the description that this movie is a vampire movie because I want you to not go into that, although I completely just ruined that. And then the movie in the second scene spoils that it is a vampire. And I would have liked a little bit more mystery, a little bit more intrigue as to what's going on. Gary Dauberman directed this film. He directed Annabelle Comes Home. He's written on many big horror projects. He was a writer for the first It movie, and he wrote this Salem's Lot adaptation. So he has a good knowledge about Stephen King's work. I just don't know if that translated to this film actually, because I don't know how deep Salem's Lot is supposed to be. The writing in this movie felt very basic, and it's only the performances by a couple of these actors that really saved the movie to become watchable. The writing is very heavy-handed. You know each direction the story is going to take because the characters are just outwardly saying, I wonder if there's a place big enough for the whole town to be at once. And then the characters click, ooh, I know where we have to go next. It's so basic. I don't like the writing of this movie. Is this movie supposed to have some camp? Is it supposed to be taken seriously? I can't tell what the specific tone is going for, because it's also pretty graphic. There's a lot of blood in this movie, but a lot of those kills happen off screen, unfortunately. Vampires are kind of boring. For a vampire to be scary, I feel like I need more than just a simple neck bite and blood sucking. Maybe they can fly, maybe they can shoot around, maybe they're fast. That's kind of cool-ish. It adds some extra stuff to the vampires. But when some of these kills are happening off screen, and yes, some of them are also kids that are being killed, I want more than just a blood splatter on other characters. And I'm not even a gore person, but I wanted to be scared by this movie, and all I was tense because the characters I liked were in peril, but I wasn't scared. And Gary Dauberman directed Annabelle Comes Home, which in my opinion is a scary movie. It may not be a good movie, but it is scary. Sure, that movie is a jump scare fest, but maybe that's the kind of movie you need sometimes to get scared, is jump scares. And I know that's a big cliche for some people, but that's also the fun of a horror movie, the roller coaster ride of getting scared, of the build up to a good jump scare, and then bang, it happens, and then the dramatic fall. And this movie was just a lot of build up. Sure, it was filmed really well. The cinematography in this movie is pretty good. There's one scene where you see a child get kidnapped, and it is all done in silhouette with the woods and a blue moon lighting in the background. It's really cool stuff. And then there's some really cool transitions in this movie to show the passage of time. But when you continually do that every single scene, it kind of gets showboaty and a little less original. But I will say that camera work was the more remarkable part of this movie and why I enjoyed it more. They put some thought into how the camera is showing you things. I thought that was really good. And surprisingly, I think the main cast of this movie did a really good job. I'm gonna name some standouts. Mackenzie Lee, who plays Susan, so good. Her charisma and just overall, like, attitude towards everything is wonderful. The movie made me really like her. And Mackenzie Lee's performance just overall saved the scenes that I really wasn't enjoying. She was just really fun to watch. Same with Alfre Woodard. When I saw that Alfre Woodard was in this cast, right before I started watching this movie, my intrigue level shot up so high. I love Alfre Woodard. I just love Alfre Woodard's body of work so much. Luke Cage, the first Annabelle movie. She is the mother in Captain America Civil War that lets Tony Stark know about her son that got killed in Sokovia. She's a voice actor on Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and I just love Alfre Woodard. She brings the right amount of camp and humor to this movie. Her sass levels have no and I just love Alfre Woodard in general. So I was really enjoying her performance in this movie. I feel like she kind of sticks out, though, in how most of her lines are very funny and there was a lot of humor to her character, but it's also kind of like a dire situation and nobody else is being as high camp. So I just don't know if the director could have like pulled her down a little bit or if that's just Alfre Woodard's natural charisma. Nonetheless, I really like her so much. She plays the doctor in this movie, a role that I didn't think was going to be as big, but it slowly became bigger. Like, this movie has a lot of characters that they'll introduce. They'll have a couple scenes where they feel like they're going to become a main part of the story, and then slowly they each get killed. Bill Camp plays a teacher in this movie, and I just thought his performance was really wonderful. If you're a bear, I am going to want you to survive. So I was just latching onto this character, hoping for the best. And that led to some tension in some scenes that I felt like that tension wasn't deserved, maybe. Like, the movie was not as scary or tension-filled, but it was more me personally wanting these characters to survive, which is heightening the movie a little bit more than it should have. In the end, Salem's Lot is a very basic vampire story about a town slowly getting taken over, but you don't get to see the town getting taken over. You see a small group of characters that become vampires, but the town in general kind of just happens in the background, and I wonder if I go to see the 3-hour version of Salem's Lot, if there is a better pace to which the town slowly gets taken over. The pacing of this movie, I think, is the big issue. For an hour, 54 minutes, and the speed at which they are telling the story, you honestly could have cut it down even more if you're gonna make it this fast. There was a lot of scenes where characters are trying to prove what they believe to other characters, and the amount of times you have to continually go through that kind of just drags the movie down. If people just, yeah, vampires are real, let's continue on, I think it would have been a lot better. But it's for the sake of scares and kills that these characters are like, blah, vampires don't exist. And unfortunately, I don't think the 2024 Salem's Lot warrants another viewing. I don't think there's any deep thematic themes to this film, which unfortunately is striking because it's a Stephen King book. Now I want to go read the book to understand if there was more that this story was supposed to be giving me, because this just felt very empty and basic. I think it still warrants at least a watch, but if you can't think of anything else to watch, just put this on. I don't really have a lot of good to say about this movie. I got really bored during it. It didn't hold my attention very well. It does follow the trend of Stephen King books and adaptations having really fun child characters. Mark as a character is really fun. You want to root for this kid. He is a protagonist. He knows he he has to defeat these vampires, and that's really engaging to see as a kid. But it's also just like, okay, this is obviously a Stephen King book, because what kid is going to actually have the drive to get this done? I'm just not going to remember much about this movie, unfortunately, and for that, I'm going to have to give the 2024 Salem's Lot adaptation a 6 out of 10. I just really wanted to be scared, and I was really let down by this movie. It didn't work for me. It's fine. Go watch it if you want to, but I'm sure there's plenty other things that you could be watching instead. So thank you all for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a like. I am so happy that it's October and I can get back to making movie reviews, even though I could have been doing it the whole time, but I just feel like getting into the spooky season with spooky movies is just what I want to do. And I'm excited to show y'all like my set and like the decorations that I have going on for this spooky season. And if you want to see more of what I've got going on, just hit subscribe, hit those bell notifications, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye! I will say it was cool how the crosses would like light up, and it was kind of like magical to get rid of the vampires, but I also have no explanation as to why that happened. It just happens because it's a Stephen King book, and magic exists in the Stephen King world, I guess. I don't know. Is it magic or is it God? Magic or God? Who knows?